Hey kids, thank you again for clicking my channel, watching my video, and subscribing. I am Miss Vega. This is Miss Vega Says What? And in today's video, I am going to give you guys a how-to on being brave. So step by step, how to be brave, okay? So if you don't know what brave means, brave is to do something with courage or to act in a courageous way. The other component of the definition brave is that it involves endurance. So doing something courageous with endurance, so over time. I know that I kept kind of my kindergarten personality, but my favorite group of kids to work with is probably the awkward crowd, whatever age that might be to you, but to me it's kind of like ages 9 to 14. And so that's the last age group I've worked with most. And a group of them actually, or a type of group of them, we'll say, really inspired me to observe the word brave and what it really means in life, in like everyday life, versus brave the way you would see it in a book or in a movie, or maybe the way you would imagine it in your head, which would be to go into a burning building and like save a puppy. We might perceive that as being brave, but in actuality, bravery can be expressed as a verb, right? So like the way we think about it is more like as an adverb, as a person did a brave thing, or a person is brave because they're a fireman and they're always doing dangerous things, something like that. But if we look at bravery as a verb, where we have to practice it, then we look really at ourselves, at our true selves, and being willing to be our true selves. So this video is dedicated to a certain type of kid, and really all types of kids. So I'll get into it. Being brave works kind of like this. Let's say you know you are a certain way and you feel like you're going to get teased by your friends, or not your friends, because if they're teasing you, they're not your friends, but by your classmates and peers. Being brave is simply the choice to be your true self anyway, to show up as your true self anyway. So when we look at brave, or bravery as a verb in that way, as a day-to-day verb, then we think of kids, right? Like if you're a kid, you can think of yourself if you feel like maybe you're a little bit different from your peers, or you can think of the kid in class that people find to be different or weird, right? But in actuality, they're brave because they show up every single day as who they are, even though they know they might get some pushback for it, or they might get teased for it, or whatever, right? Or maybe they realize this isolates me, but they still choose to show up that way. So that's being brave, because you're never, or well, I shouldn't say you never, but more than likely you're not gonna get the chance to save a puppy from a burning building in your life. And even if you do, and that's wonderful if you do, you were probably courageous in that moment, right? But in this way, you practice bravery every day just by being yourself, because you have to choose to be yourself. So this really goes out to kids who I love so dearly, who inspired me so much, because they show up to school as themselves despite knowing that it's going to maybe label them as something they don't want to be labeled, or that maybe they'll get teased or bothered, and they still show up as those kids. Like they're so true to themselves, and that is so brave, right? And so here's the thing about those kids is that they choose to show up as themselves for themselves. That's another component that makes you brave, because I'm sure they have maybe friends who are like, maybe you should stop, doing all that weird stuff. And they still chose to be themselves for themselves. That's brave, right? Because essentially they're saying, even without the support of my friend, I'm still gonna be who I am, and I'm gonna claim it. And This goes for friends, and this can go for family too, right? Like maybe sometimes our family members are like, maybe you should, go with the norm a little bit more, and you still show up as yourself. That's brave. Sure, there's probably some compromise, which maybe I'll talk about in a different video, but for the purpose of this video, I'm saying that bravery is showing up as yourself, no matter who tells you you should probably blend in and avoid those problems or things like that, right? It takes a lot of bravery to show up, excuse me, as yourself, for yourself. So you're not just being your true self, you're choosing to be your true self. So you choose yourself, and that's being brave, right? And even in the example of if you had gone into a burning building and saved a puppy, let's say, you would still have friends and family who would be disappointed in your choice, or who would say like, please don't ever do that again, or I wish you hadn't, right? But that doesn't negate that hero in the puppy story is still a brave person who committed a brave act. They might lose support in like some misunderstandings, but they still choose themselves to be the person who saves the puppy. With that, I think that's really all I want to wrap up. I think you guys are brave and wonderful and loved. And actually, no, it's not. I don't want to wrap it up, because I want to say this. I want to say that this probably, so I want to speak to equality a little bit, just real quick. And the reason I bring up equality is because I sense some viewers will be like, is she saying that? Or is she saying, and then that's the whole point. I have empathy for that experience without having had that experience myself. This is empathy. This is allyship, right? So even though I didn't experience what some of you might be interpreting, per se, I did experience certain things. Like you could probably tell, I am a quirky dresser. I have hair that calls attention, but I'm a shy person. So I have to contend with that too, right? Like there's a duality there, but I always, and I have in the past thought to myself like, oh my gosh, I can't with all like the attention in the comments. Should I just, go with the norm, or conform to the norm and just like put on some slacks and a normal top? And I think to do that, but that's not who I truly am. So I choose to be me, and that's my own bravery, but it's hard for me. And that's why I have empathy for you, because even though that's smaller and it's maybe just cute and quirky, it's still hard on my nervous system. So I have so much empathy for those of you that choose to show up as you are for yourself. I send you guys so much love and awe, and you are honestly maybe my inspiration behind this channel. So I hope you like this video and you join me for others. Thank you so much.